from corporate into business.
Yes.
How was your preparation?
First of all, I think, Ian, I would say you can never be really well set up because the challenges that will come after you won't know. And it is not about money. People say, I think you need to have saved 10 million to start your business. It can also go. Business environment is very, very different from corporate.
Yeah.
You have a way of working. You have to make up your mind because challenges will be there. So I would say if I'm talking to an entrepreneur tomorrow and you're leaving employment, going to work, have a plan, know who you're going to partner with. Also work with people who have experience in the field you're looking at. Don't jump in and say, I'm going to show them how it's done. There is nobody who knows business better than the experience that you find with the people who are already doing it.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and as always tonight we have a very interesting show lined up. I have with me a gentleman who's been in the corporate world for quite a while and just transitioned into the world of business, not like a late bloomer but full of experience, and we're going to be having such an interesting conversation to decipher about his journey and some of the lessons you can actually derive from his journey. But before I get to introduce my guest, I want to remind you that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur, because being a part or being a member of the Capital Club, you have access to a wide array of amenities. Where we are filming this is just one of the meeting rooms that you can entertain and have meetings with your clientele. There's the restaurant, there's the gym, there's the spa. So literally you can spend your morning to evening just here doing business and also just getting to entertain yourself. And one thing I want to remind you that 2 of my books are actually out. That's the Business Conquest and the Food for Thought, available at the Textbook Center. So you can get to decipher some of the thoughts and some of the experiences I have around life and business. The gentleman I'm speaking about and I want to have a conversation with is Simon Kariithi. I just wanted to look at this particular name. Nisingmoe is the founder of Jaicom Enterprises. My goodness, I'm just very, very careful about the names. I don't want to get it quite right. Simon, thank you so much for coming to the show. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Finally, it's here. I know we had scheduled it before,
Yes.
but life happens, but eventually you're quite here.
Yes.
The first question I like starting all my conversations with, what exactly are you most grateful for today?
Oh, of course, life and family is everything. So first is because when you wake up and breathe, that's already a big gift. So the gift of life is what I'm so grateful.
Interesting. I think sometimes you never really understand how precious life is until probably you have some experiences. So let me I want just to start your journey, because I know you're just having an off-camera conversation in terms of part of your journey, which has been quite elaborate. Where did you grow up? What was the beginning?
Yeah, my beginning, very humble.
Yeah.
I count myself as a village boy who just got up somewhere and got somewhere through, of course, hard work and faith.
My village
is in Naivasha, that's where I come from.
Yeah.
Just before you get to Naivasha town, there's a place called Kinongi. People know it very well, but it's known for the wrong reasons.
Why? They just know it for the cold.
Accidents and accidents.
I know it for the cold and for the mist, especially driving. I dread it. I just dread it. I always come out to pass by Kinungi before that mist.
So you can imagine I experience that every morning, going to school, walking about 8 kilometers every morning. But that's where I grew up. I love the place. It's
and the cold.
Home. I think we got used to it. We don't actually feel it. I think
so
visitors are the ones.
Your nom.
Exactly. But that's where I grew up. I went to primary school there. Then after my primary school, I went to Nakuru County, a place called Njoro Boys. That's where I went to high school.
I also know Njoro because of the cold.
Yeah.
So I've always been cold places.
Yeah, so I didn't have much problem to transition. So I was there again for my high school, and then I came to Nairobi University.
And what are your parents? What are your parents into?
My parents, who are they are not there because they are aged. God bless their soul.
Yes.
I'm actually the second last born, so they're actually not there, both of them. But yeah, my father used to work in Bata Shoe Company way back, but then he retired in Rimuru, because that's where we came from.
Yes.
Then we moved to Naivasha, because Naivasha, there are those land schemes that come after. So initially, my bigger families are from Rimuru area. So my dad used to work in Bata, my mother was a house.
So all been cold places.
It's cold. Rimuru is actually even worse. Rimuru is worse. So that's where my older siblings grew up. But me, I was born in Naivasha. My dad had already retired and moved to Naivasha. So basically they were farmers, so to say. But yeah, that's where I started off.
Yeah. And how was it growing up in the village?
Very, very interesting because it's very easy life. You know, you wake up and you don't have really much. Of course, you have to. You have to graze some. You know, there is grazing. You have to go to the shamba and do something. But after that, basically, is you have to. You know, there is that shopping center that you're told afternoon after doing some chores, then you get to the shopping center just to relax. We call it in our mother tongue Kongedia because you just go there and chill.
Oh, Kongedia is actually a mother tongue. That's just a word you always use. I mean, there too.
So basically, So I can say it was just simple, humble village life. Just doing what my parents used to do, farming basically. We had one cash crop in that area, so that was pyrethrum. Of course, now with times, now you know the way things have changed. It was actually, it's what I can say took me through school. Pyrethrum was big there. Now again, it went there was of
I just
course
remember
like tea and coffee.
In social studies. I've never even seen it. I don't really recall what it did.
And the challenge with that cash crop is that the picking is every Saturday. So Saturday there is work. You can't even go anywhere because that's when we pick. You know, it's a flower. So we pick every Saturday. But it was fun because we used to really enjoy doing that.
Interesting.
But yeah, basically that and just the normal farming work that you see, a few animals here and there, and then of course farming the basics.
And what are some of the lessons that you learned from your parents? Because I know there's so much to learn from farmers.
Yeah, there is. True, there is.
Patience.
Exactly, and then focus, because you see, as I told you, we had in our own farm, because we had pyrethrum, we needed to know, we used to pick every Saturday. And you are picking the flowers that have matured. It's basically like tea, because you pick the buds, and then you, again, and you have to plan, because if you do a segment this Saturday, then you move to the next segment, then you have to know when to get back to the other segment. So much as there was no idea, my parents were not really educated as such. My dad only went a little bit to school, a little bit. But they had a lot of planning in how farming is done and discipline. So I could say some of the things that I learned, of course, planning, dedication, focus. I can say I learned it from home because I knew Saturday I can't even say I'm sick because I'll be told I'm sick because I don't want to go to the farm. So there's a bit of discipline I can say that I got from that humble beginning. And of course, you know, parents, you know, Shaq's parents are very strict. Hakuna mchezo, before even we discuss the issue, unachapa in advance. So even if you are not wrong, you are sasa ulikuwa umenichapa, you know, what did I, you know, basically. So I say there's a lot that I learned from my parents. And my mom in particular, my mom, you know, bringing up, we're not few in my family. We are 9 of us. 9. Yeah,
that's so almost a football team.
Yeah, I know. So you can imagine my mom getting through kids, you know, that number.
And you're second
close
last.
Together. I'm the second last one.
So you're number 8.
I'm number 8. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So I look at dedication, focus. You know, trying to, you know, she's one managing. Because when my dad was even working, my mom was everything. So I can say there's a lot of learning that I can.
So just pyrethrum that took you through school.
So yes, because my dad has even retired at that time.
And then so post now, what's it called, primary and secondary education? Where did you go to university?
I came to Nairobi University.
So
I was in
Nairobi?
Yeah, I had come because my elder brother, as I told you, you have a very older sibling. Even by that time, was working at Welcome Kenya Limited, and he had a pharmacy in the CBD. Moi Avenue.
Oh, so your sibling was an entrepreneur?
Yeah, my sibling was already in business. So when I joined university, I had come a few times just to visit him because he used to live here, I would say. But then when I joined university, he actually really introduced me to business because what I used to do when I'm doing my lessons, I used to come in the evening to help at the shop to also get some little bits of pocket money here and there. So for me, I can say the bit of entrepreneurship and going into business really started before even I got into corporate. Yeah, because for the 4 years I was in university, I was working with him. Yes.
Interesting. And how exactly was that particular experience?
It was very, very good because actually my brother is a pharmacist by profession, and he actually really wanted me to be one. Of course, when I finished my Form 4, I didn't have the prerequisite requirements to meet to do pharmacy. So what he told me, you come to Chiromo. I actually came to Chiromo and did something called BSc. BSc, Bachelor of Science, was general. You know, you pick here and there and do biochem and chemistry, because if you do that, once you are done, I will see whether you can, it's easy to advance to do pharmacy still, because one of the biggest courses in both medicine and pharmacy in the first 2 years of university is biochem. In fact, the first year and second year, we do classes together with med students and pharmacy students. That's why the BSc was based in Chiromo. So I took that out. So you can see I was just being guided because of someone else's career.
So someone was prepared.
Yes, because in any case, in our old days, then you know, you don't even sure what you want to be. In fact, if I was asked, me would say I wanted to be, I had loved food for some reason. So I'd say I want to be a cook. You know, I would say a cook that time. My chef was another story. I don't know. I want to be a cook. But my dad would tell me, you just want to cook. Then you don't even need to go to school. Because he also didn't understand. But that was what I had in my mind, that I really wanted to go into hospitality. I'm doing a little bit of it now because as a passion, I have a small place in Olkalau.
Culinary and all that.
Yes, I do a lot. And I have a small hotel in Olkalau town, just after 1 kilometer after town. A small hotel. But I do it because of passion, and I love it, and that's not something I loved. But then my bro is saying, you need to go into sciences, you need to be a pharmacist or a doctor. Those are the things he was looking at. But it was actually not really my calling.
So
because even later, it was very, very interesting how it went. As I told you, I really enjoyed working at a pharmacy because it was giving me practice. But when I finished university, his plan was, because he's actually the one who took me to the UK. I go to the UK, and then he'll get me a school to do pharmacy, because it will take me 2 years instead of the normal 5 years. Because you see, I've done the bigger course, which is biochem, which I had done the whole 4 years and graduated in biochemistry. So, and he did that. So he actually arranged, he's the one who took me to the UK. But fit as it would have it, I go to the UK. The university he had arranged for me to join, they are supposed to get a part scholarship, because also it is expensive. Sciences are expensive. Whether it's medicine or pharmacy, they are quite pricey. So when I go to the UK, he had arranged, the scholarship was not approved, the part scholarship. So his rate is quite expensive. He would manage to pay fully my course in the 2.5 years I was supposed to be there. And I'm already in the UK. I've gotten admitted, I'm in the UK. So I'm there, and then he tells me, now, I think what we're going to do. Now it's the time he asked me, what did you want to do? I told him, my brother, I have always wanted to do business. I'm not sure yet what business, because now I've been working in a pharmacy. So what do you pick for business? You need to get special, it's MBA. So I took MBA in strategic management and marketing. And that is why everything changed. My life changed from that time. Because when I finished and I graduated, my project, I did my project with Sony in the UK, Sony Corporation. So it was in electronics. I was doing some research, my master's project. So once I finished, actually, they are the ones who employed me for about 1 year. And from there, I moved directly to electronics. And from there, I've never looked back.
Interesting. And then now you worked for Sony, and then you came back to Kenya, and then you got a job with Samsung.
Yes, when I landed back in Kenya, which was in December 2001, the war broke out in Ivory Coast at that time. Samsung Electronics Africa office that was taking care of Africa, the Horn of Africa and East Africa, up to Central Africa, was based in Ivory Coast. So when war breaks out, what do multinational companies do? And this is usually a running process. People should know that there's nothing bad like what you call these wars and civil war. Because when it does that, the companies that you call multinationals, they look for the safer haven. They will move from your country and go elsewhere. So that's what happened. The next country that was strategic in form of logistics, because then, you know, we have a carrier called Kenya Airways, and these big companies, because I've worked for a company where I've been forced to travel a lot, they look at connection. They want to come to Uganda, where are they connecting? They want to do East Africa, where is their connection? So Kenya was the most strategic. So the office had just moved from Ivory Coast to Kenya. So they were just doing interviews at that time. So I got here, it was 1 month after I landed back. I started looking out, then I saw an ad. Samsung was employing, they had just got to the market. They were using an agency. So I walked in, of course I applied, and we were shortlisted. And it was also very interesting how they were doing the interview, those Koreans at that time. They were fast, you know, the way they say applications come in thousands. Even that time, see, they were coming in big number, not that big number though, as so today.
I remember back then probably you guys were sending letters.
It's letters you deliver. Before we talk of email, now you deliver. Remember I delivered my application in Westlands, somewhere in Westlands, I can't remember the building. But all the same, no, Landmark Hotel, yes, that's where I delivered my application. So then of course I was shortlisted, but now later I was told the shortlisting was The guy was just looking at anybody with international experience. You have studied outside. So I remember the guys who were doing interviews had come from US, some Texas, University of this and that. So when we were shortlisted, and luckily I got the job. I think due by my bit of experience with Sony. And I started off in 2002. I was just doing sales then. So I was given East Africa, then I was doing Kenya, Uganda. I actually took the biggest market that time, which was Nigeria market. Nigeria was the biggest for Samsung then, because that time, Samsung was taking care of East, West, and Central Africa. It was about 37 countries. So I was given Nigeria. I actually did East Africa for a week, then they realized, I was thrown in Nigeria.
And Samsung as we know it now is not as Samsung as it was then in terms of the products?
Not at all.
What kind of products are you dealing with?
That time,
mobile phones were not there.
Mobile phones were not even there, I can tell you, Dennis.
And it was pages. I don't know if they had pages.
We had that. Things that were, like, you remember Motorola is what was popular. But there was that. But the biggest business that time for Samsung was air conditioning, which was in Nigeria. Of course, TVs. We were now getting big in TV.
There's also TVs.
Refrigerators then, and washing machines were just being introduced. And Nigeria that time was the biggest market for Samsung. It was contributing actually 65% of the business.
So were you based in Kenya or were you based in
I was based in Kenya, but half of the month I used to be in Nigeria. I was flying in Nigeria every month because 2 weeks I was always in Nigeria.
In Mabuchi or where?
No, Lagos. But I did all towns because, of course, meeting dealers. I could go to Abuja, Kano, for Port Harcourt. So all those towns I used to visit, of course, to do, because I was managing the portfolio for marketing and sales. And Nigeria actually grew too quickly because the market was has the biggest potential. And I did Nigeria for 5 years. Within the 5 years, then they had seen the market is so big and they needed to open an office in Nigeria, which was now Samsung West Africa office was open in Nigeria. I was given an option to move to Nigeria then, but I had a young family at that time. And to be honest, I worked in Nigeria for 5 years. I didn't like it. Nothing personal. It's a very hostile environment and difficult.
What's the deal?
They are very aggressive. Nigerians are very, very aggressive. They have a way of working that is actually very unique. There is no, Nigerians don't know a no. I mean, and then you really have to manage the business. I remember one time, I was actually beaten up in Nigeria. Beaten up, for, assaulted. And it was about World Cup.
Why?
In 2002, the World Cup was in Korea. Of course, Nigeria was playing that time. You remember Kanu? Munko Kanu.
I remember.
Then now, if you told the Nigerians they're not going to win the World Cup, remember we were selling TVs. But actually, that is the moment when we used to do the biggest business for TVs. Because, Nigerians are the ones who started doing projection TVs. In Africa, I would say even before South Africa. Projection TV is that TV that used to look like a cupboard with a big back. Because why it had a big back is because it had a tube. A fluorescent tube is what used to project the picture. So it used to be huge. To keep it cool, it used to be actually a cupboard. You bring it like almost a whole unit. And because of Nigerian houses are huge, there you see them in the movies. They actually used to purchase those projection TVs. I remember they were 43 inches. But we used to do even better than Dubai in Middle East in form of numbers in Nigeria. Because they really used to buy them. Because the Nigerian people, because of the oil and all that, they have had money. What you call them, those chiefs and all that, they have money. So we used to do good business. So I used to camp there like during World Cup because the sales were fantastic. We are just shipping stocks. So, and during the day, because Korea now, because of time difference, football was showing during the day. So the first match is like 9 o'clock, there is a game, in the morning. Because remember, it's Korea, it's like South Korea is many hours behind the time difference. So they actually used to walk in a showroom. And Nigerians are this type of people, like maybe in a supermarket or where there's a showroom for TVs. If it's football time, you cannot tell them they will not come and watch their team because you are selling. Please. They will walk in and they will sit. They will even buy tea and come in with tea in your shop and now sit. They are not buying. And you will switch on all the TVs, my friend. There is no discussion. So I'm standing, I'm in my dealer shop, one of my big dealers called Far East Mercantile, big shop. We are watching the game. Then of course a Nigerian is standing next to me. So they are cheering. I remember Nigeria was playing against South Korea, that game. And they actually won. I have never forgotten that game. So I tell the Nigerian next to me, he's cheering, he's happy. He's saying, you see, he's telling me, like, relax, relax. You're going, I'm not going anywhere. Hey, that was a mistake I did. The guy asked me, where are you from? You know, where are you from? And of course he can tell my accent. So I told him I'm from Kenya. He shouted and said, this Kenyan here is saying that we cannot win the World Cup. My friend, I was lifted from there.
They didn't know the marketing manager.
I was even of the TVs they were watching. I was lifted from there. I was actually really beaten. I was saved by the guys, of course the salespeople and the security guys, but it was bad.
And from that particular experience, because it's in Africa, you know, all markets are very different. You mentioned Nigeria is extremely different. But what are some of the lessons that you learned from that particular market for any entrepreneur that's watching it and maybe looking forward to expand?
It's about passion. Passion is really big in anything. When you talk about markets being big, developing market, there's a lot to do with passion. And passion, it's not even passion for buying and passion even for the entrepreneurship, passion for how the product is put out there, passion for the brand. Because Samsung was a small brand. You know, Samsung, at that time, TVs were who? Sony, Panasonic.
I remember,
those companies all died. You know, the history of Samsung is very, very interesting. We were being told by the founders of Samsung, said when they started Samsung as a brand, before even you come to mobile phone, as TV brand, they were told to win, Ian, you go to where the competition is highest. They were told, if you want to sell Samsung, the first TVs that we are going to export, we are going to export them to Japan. So they were sent to Japan. Salespeople were sent where Sony was, where Panasonic was, where Matsushita was, Mitsubishi was. The TV brand originated from Japan. That's where the big brands were. There's a market in Japan called Akihabara, in Japan. They were told, if you don't go and sell and export products in Japan, then we are not in business. So salesmen were sent to Japan, that market. It's like, basically I would call it is like the Gikomba of electronics. Because there's always those markets. Even in Nigeria, there's a Alaba market, which is like Gikomba, where all electronics. I'm giving as an example, because the open market where everybody is doing business. And when they walked in there, they used to go to a shopkeeper and tell the shopkeeper, we have this brand called Samsung. The guy is asking, what is this brand you're talking about? Because they don't know. Because today 90% of people know Toyota or something. So they tell the person, no, this is a new brand, it is good, it is better than Sony. What are you talking about? Now the person is, go away. But they tell the person, do this. Just keep 2 units, don't even pay for them. Keep them. When you sell them, I'll come and take another order. That is why they started business. And within 2 years, they had 20% market share in Japan, Samsung had. And of course, Samsung's story now from there. It is the #1 brand for TVs today. So they are, and most of those companies are dead. And even mobile phone today, when you talk about Samsung, Sony, yes, it's very small now. Panasonic is finished. Those are now even moved to something else like audio. So me, I would say, everything starts with passion.
Interesting. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and then once you're back, you're going to find out how exactly does a brand that was non-existent back then comes to dominate the world, and primarily even what you know of Samsung. I think when you mentioned TV, I just know Samsung because of mobile, I think probably just TVs. But primarily going to find out how exactly can a brand dominate into particular markets that they're not part of. So I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Before we went on a break, someone was just taking us through his interesting journey all the way from the village, watu wa Kinungi, wakaenda Njoro, and then found their way to Nairobi, went to London, came back to Kenya. Quite an interesting tale in terms of how your career went. A question I forgot to ask you is in terms of how you transitioned your career and how exactly was that? Because initially you're building yourself into becoming a biochemist.
Yes.
Because of your brother who was leading you into this.
Yes.
And then eventually, maybe because of lack of school fees, you found yourself into the business world. How was that particular shift, and how did you handle it? Because there are so many people who want to make that shift in terms of their career. How did you go about it?
It's always a very interesting journey. But what I would say with my experience right now, being now full say 5 years in business now is you really have to have made up your mind, because there's no good life, to be honest, because I have had both worlds, like corporate. I tell people, by the time I went into business, for about 20 years, I actually did not know the cost of buying. I didn't even know how you load airtime. I have never bought airtime. I was in Samsung, I had a mobile phone fully loaded with airtime, unlimited, because I was doing the region.
Yeah.
I grew in Samsung. I can say I really grew into in the business, because by the time I was leaving, I was head of mobile. But why did I leave also? Because I had worked there 15 years. I had planned actually to retire in Samsung because I had enjoyed the business, and I really had a very good understanding of the operation, and I loved retail, because it was all retail and corporate and B2B for that matter. But then I in Samsung, the structure, as I said, is a Korean company. It has a very interesting culture, because the local CEO or MD has to be a Korean. Has to be in every country. It has to, except the US. Where you can see the vice president at that level is an American.
That's their culture.
That is their culture. They know, they believe on their own. They let you guys do the other bit. So by the time I was director of mobile, which was the head of mobile, there was no other position I would grow into. And so after working there for about 4 years, then I said I needed a change, because then, you know, I'm not even, now I can do this with my eyes closed. So it's when I now went to Mate Choice. I joined Pay TV. I was actually headhunted, because I was just there not thinking I would go. I went as a GM for Go TV. A very, very, very interesting industry is media. Of course, now we started working with you guys. We were in the same space, because we were in pay media. But of course, the biggest competition was the terrestrial TV, because in Kenya today, if you talk about the top channels, is actually local TV. So to build Maisha Magic and make it work, and of course, get it accepted in the market, we had to do a lot of work. So but it was very interesting journey, and very, very entertaining. Entertainment is very nice. You know, me, I was always in hotels, as you are today now. We are doing something, but media is quite interesting. But coming to that, when I only stayed there for 3 years, I felt this is not touching me, because of electronics experience for many years, and it was okay. The business was good. We were doing okay. So I decided that now I'm going to move out. So I resigned in 2019. It was also the beginning of COVID, long timing, and I decided I'm going into business. I had already set up 2 shops. Samsung shop in Gareria, a mall, a brand shop.
So you already started your preparation?
Preparation, just about a year. After when I left Samsung, because now I could now do business because of conflict of interest, I began the first shop, which was Gareria. So when I opened that, I actually acquired it because it was being run by a partner, another partner. I acquired that and Valley Arcade. So I decided, let me leave now and focus on my business. And when I did that, it was very, very challenging. To be honest, at one moment, I had started to throw myself back into employment. But as myself, these steps that I have made, even in the last 2-3 years, why would I, even if at my age now, at 50, am I going to go back? And then again, I'll be thinking about living another 5 years. I'm going to fight on. Of course, and again, I said it was COVID time. It was, business was a bit difficult. But it only took me a year. When I focused. I did full focus. I made an expansion plan. Of course, working with Samsung, they knew me very well. We understood each other how to work. And I opened other 3 I have now 6 outlets in Nairobi, in all key malls. Gareria, Valley Arcade, Mega Mall on Mombasa Road, Imara Mall, the new mall on Mombasa Road, Gateway Mall, and also Mararal, which is opposite 4 Sheraton at Haringam. So I can say you have to make up your mind, because challenges will be there. Business environment is very, very different from corporate. You have a way of working. Business, you have to think outside the box. You have to know how to make things work. But it has been a very interesting journey, and I have enjoyed it.
And how was your preparation for the exit? Because you mentioned 2 things, that before you made the actual jump, you already started making some investment from corporate into business. How was your preparation? Because people always say, oh, prepare 1 year in advance, have at least a salary saved for this period. Were you well set up, or was it just a jump you said?
First of all, I think, Ian, I would say you can never be really well set up, because the challenges that will come after you won't know. And it is not about money. People say, I think you need to have saved 10 million to start your business. It can also go. I think the issue is, number 1, I would say, is planning. Number 2 is partnerships. Who are you going to work with when you leave? Who is that who is going to hold your hand? So I would say Samsung became my key partner because we understood how to work. They opened for me platforms that I was going to exploit to be able to get my business successful. And I also had my own plan. I presented a plan to them, that an expansion plan, which they were keen because retail had started not to do very well. And I said retail has had its own challenges. So I did have a plan, and a plan was not the way you say, I'm living day by day. I had a 5-year plan. And even if I face challenge, I think that planning part of it and the partnerships that I got into was everything that in business. So I would say if I'm talking to an entrepreneur tomorrow and you're leaving employment, going to work, have a plan, know who you're going to partner with. Also work with people who have experience in the field you're looking at. Don't jump in and say, I'm going to show them how it's done. There is nobody who knows business better than the experience that you find with the people who are already doing it. And in business, you really cannot reinvent the wheel. You can improve on some element, do additions, do things a bit different, but it's never invented. So you can never really say, I'm going to do well than the person who is on the business. So try to learn a lot from those existing businesses. Just try to work on what is existing to improve it and make it better. Yes.
And what is, because you had an extensive experience in terms of the corporate world in the retail sector. You've worked with Samsung, you've worked with MultiChoice.
Yes.
Almost 20 years.
Yes.
How, sometimes we look like, after 20 years, you're used to the status quo.
Yes.
What kind of mindset shift did you go through in order just when making that particular jump?
Yeah, I'll mention this because when you're talking behind the scene before we started off, you talk about status is nothing, and you mentioned the way, I mean, it is important not to look at status. You know, I came from a CEO in MultiChoice. I was a CEO. I was, as I said, I'm having all the front end of CEO. You know, I'm having a driver with vehicle. I am phone. I have a PA. I have somebody who is doing my bit, who is arranging my meetings. That was how was my life. I come back and I'm the guy to order goods. I have to go to the warehouse. I have to check stocks. I have to receive even goods. Sometimes I have to dispatch. You have to be able to go down there. If you don't go down there in your business, you will not survive. The next very, very important thing I would say is about teamwork. Team is everything. You know, at whatever level you are, a team is everything. I'll give you just a small example. When I joined MultiChoice, and I would say this without fear of contradiction, the company was, pay TV companies and in media, it's usually very fragmented a little bit. There's a lot of movement. People always are moving. In fact, I will tell you, in MultiChoice, general managers or CEOs the rotation was quite very, very often. It's like marketing. People move a bit. 2 years, there's somebody new. Because I think because of ideas and changes, and it's a very important. So when I got there, I found a team. In fact, when I got there, very interesting. I found that the GM had just left. He had only worked for a year and a half. And GoTV was struggling because it was not as premium as DSTV. It is like local channel. You know, they even have mass locally, so it's more like local. GoTV is more local. So it wasn't really doing very well. And I was told, even you will struggle, you may not work for a while. But I realized the problem is not me. The problem was the team. The team was not more, it was a bit demoralized. And I told the director, the general that time, the regional director for MultiChoice that time, I told him, I actually don't understand this business. I've come from electronics. You actually it's a totally different thing to me. Guys are talking about, channels and this and that, and, and I don't even know. Even before I understand the business, there's something that I need to do. I want you to allow me to take my sales team, marketing, sales, and retail team, just for a workshop. It will help me also understand the business, but I need to just talk to them. But it was not going to help me understand the business, because already even in the 1 month before my orientation, I went to SA and all that. I had already knew what was happening, who are your competitors, what is the problem happening in the local market. But I just needed to have an engagement with the team. And I asked for a budget to take them to Mombasa for a week, for 4 days. I wanted 2 days with the team and 2 days with distributors, because that's who are our top dealers in the market, countrywide. There were about 40 of them. And I was told, how can you come and you want to spend a budget that time? It was 2017. You want to spend a budget of 6 million just to take people just to enjoy. They will not even, performance is bad, numbers are bad, our numbers, subscriber base has dropped. I told him, just give me that chance. To be honest, after back and forth, I was told, are you assuring me the sales will grow and all that? I was allowed to spend that money with a condition that sales will increase. I was actually not sure it is going to happen. So we went to Mombasa for the first 2 days. We did nothing. We just went 2 hours. I introduced myself. I told them my vision, which was just a bit lost because you remember, I don't know about pay TV really. I was telling my I want us to grow 20%. I want, and then I told them from now this afternoon, we're just going to do sports. We're just going to, we are at White Sands. We are going to enjoy everywhere. Just do team building kind of activity. We did that on the following day, and the third day we were joined by the 40 top dealers. But here, let me tell you what happened. We got back to Nairobi. I was very surprised because I had gotten salespeople from all over the country. Some from Western region, Northeastern, wherever, our top salespeople. Some had never even gone to a place like Mombasa. It was the first time to see an ocean, unfortunately. But that was not even the key thing. When we got back, even without having done anything, by the end of the month, our sales had grown by 32%. Why? Because business is about people. If you and people are the ones who do everything. If you just make people work, actually the solutions that came from that are the ones that we applied. And I remember growing my subscriber base within the first 6 months from 800,000 subscribers to 1.2, which was the highest growth that they had seen over a period of a year, a calendar year. So I would say people is everything, teamwork, and of course trying to understand the market as well. When again we got back, I looked at the composition of the team. Synergy in the team is very, very important, and communication is also everything. I introduced regular communication. You know, when you have a team in the field, and you just sometimes when we say we let people do because you want to see their performance. It is always important when there is accountability, communication. I introduced, there were weekly meetings that we were to communicate. Top team, it was not for everybody. My team leaders, and then I wanted that disseminated also to the other team. And then there was a day in the week also that we would say talking to our top partners. So for me, I say when we created the synergy in communication, I make sure there is follow-up and having understanding what the team needs, and always try to provide. Sometimes team needs very, very basic things, and try to provide that basic thing. I just saw an improvement. There was synergy, there was teamwork, and we started to see exponential growth in business. Of course, you have to add other elements of marketing where you do big promotion, because that is when now we started to do big promotion with Papa Shirando was our ambassador for GoTV, God bless his soul. We started to do big road shows. You know, we would do something that's impactful, like have an event at Nyayo Stadium, then Papa comes on a helicopter. So you do impactful projects and community based. Then you just see that growth happening. Because it has to be three-pronged. You know, it has to be the team, it has to be the people we are doing, your partners, because partners are everything, and of course the market as well on the other side.
And having been also, because you mentioned you've grown up through the ranks and you became a director at Samsung, you became, what's it called, the general manager at MultiChoice. What are some of the lessons around leadership you've also learned? Because I'm seeing also the element of leadership in terms of also how it aided you in making that particular transformation at MultiChoice. What are some of the lessons around leadership that you got to learn, maybe through your experience that you can actually share out?
I think my first usually is about listening. You listen more. Always, whether it's in meeting or whether you're meeting your partner, and talk less as much as possible, and then always look at what the person did not say. You know, you know, when you meet partners, particular partners, because business is done by partners. And when I talk partners here, I'm talking about partners who are our partners in business. Stakeholders. For example, even in MultiChoice, KBC was our stakeholder because they own part of GoTV. But listening to what the person did not say. So in a conversation, what that part that I expected the person to say they didn't say, because that is usually where the whole story is. And of course, trying to think outside the box. You know, when I started doing my own business and I was doing retail, there's a lot of effect on online. Today, if you want to buy a mobile phone, and you walk to a shop like my business, I'm in a brand shop in Kariithi. The price tag is X. If you just Google that same device online, you find it will be 20% less. So how do we beat that business of online?
Yeah.
Value addition. We tell you, if you're coming to retail, what other value addition will come? We'll come and set up your device. We'll transfer all your data. And make sure that to your last SMS, it will appear on your new phone. Yeah. Switching. We'll make sure that we have put a screen protector on your phone, put a cover on your phone. Value addition. We have a sitting place where you'll sit and have coffee as we do all that. And then we'll tell you, in case you have a problem with the phone, because I'm running a service center now. I have a service center in Hurlingham for authorized Samsung service center. That you are worry free. You drop the phone to us, we will service that phone and give it to you. So you feel that we have given you value. So even when so we don't sell price, we sell value. So it's an element of, again, doing things different. They're not looking at, when you look at a challenge, you know, people look at challenges and say, oh, this is so challenging. But whatever the problem is, what is that other challenge that you can now look into? Because everything has a challenge, even in the business you do, and it has its challenges. So what is that solution that you can give that has challenge? Instead of you telling me to drive all the way, my office in Valiaki, I drive all the way to Mombasa Road to come for the interview. You tell me somewhere convenient where you'll come, and even after you're done for your meeting, you can relax and have your lunch. I can tell somebody to meet me here for a meeting. So you've given me a solution that makes me feel it is even easier for me to come than do the other things. So these are all the things that I'm talking about. That solutions, you should be able to be providing solution in whatever environment that you are even doing. And I'm walking to textbook center right now because I see one of the books is talking about such a thing. Yes.
And one thing about you have a very extensive experience in commercial and sales, which is a core to any particular business. So what kind of lessons in terms of just building your sales can you actually share to any entrepreneur watching this? Maybe you're starting out for business. How are you able to grow your sales? What are some of the key elements to growing your sales? Most of you has been in retail. What are some of the lessons you've actually learned around sales?
True. I've worked with corporate and even in enterprise. One of my biggest clients is Safaricom. I work closely with Safaricom. Mkopa as well, Kenya Airport Authority, a few big clients. And I can tell you today, a corporate environment is again a very totally different environment from retail. Retail, we talk about value addition. A customer wants to see, I've come to a good environment, I'm assured of the device I'm buying has warranty. The corporate environment is looking at a totally different thing. First of all, are you a reliable partner? Are you aligned to the goals of the company? Are you able to provide products at need sufficiently? Are you able to offer solution whereby end-to-end solution? So even when I went to Safaricom to start supplying them, I do some part of the devices supply, and I also supply them with Oraimo accessories. It was, I offered a solution. I offered a solution of end-to-end. I do shipment directly from Samsung factory directly to the country. So I ordered them a full solution whereby, I was handling even the back end. So they don't have the headache of trying to clear the goods. All that headache, I sorted that out. Then I was able to do forecasting with them. I had a plan, as I said, long-term planning, because some of these companies require you to also have a plan and a changeable plan. Devices are changing. We bought S23. We are now launching Fold 6 in July. There's stocks for Fold 5. What is my plan? Because of my retail, I'm going to be able to tell Safaricom devices that we have not been able to sell out. I'm going to either take them to retail. I have a solution around the business. Because today, Safaricom is not into device business, for example. What is Safaricom core business? That's why they say transparency, accurate, and reliable. Why? But their business is not device. Even they hang devices and everything. Their business is to connect you to a line, to make sure you use their data, and airtime and M-Pesa. That is their core business. But the module to drive that business is a device. A device is required. When they have a big device like the Note or the iPhone and Samsung and all that, they know the ARPU will be great, because when you enjoy a faster device, you spend more on even data. So that is their core business. These are the device. In fact, they've changed the model to say consignment because they don't want the headache of inventory. Because now before, somebody who is in commercial, who doesn't understand the device market, will make an order of a device X which is not moving. But now me, I'm going them with a plan beyond. I'm telling them I know this product will sell more because of the price gap. Because I know I already have that experience in retail. So I'm able to even do segmentation for them. So in corporate environment, it's about also the full solution that you can be able to give them, that they see that you are solving their problems from logistics, that all they do is just procure, and you're able to offer them that solution. And that's why I've seen my close association with these corporates has been very good, because when I look at, I even will look at their forward planning. What do they want to drive tomorrow? What is their plan for data? So that even I'm telling them, for this device, we'll put it into the market, over 10 GB data with it, and of course working closely with Samsung, for example. And when they see those solutions, those people will be willing, any corporate will be willing to work with you, because you're also offering solution.
And just as we wind up, what's that one lesson that you can say, looking back in retrospect, that you can actually share, that's what about 20 entrepreneurs, either in business or one maybe wants to come into business, from your experience?
Do something that you have a passion for. Don't do something because Ian is doing such a business and you think he looks successful. Do something you have passion. If your passion is food, you will do best and you will shine in that environment. Your passion is electronics. Your passion is treating people and getting close to people, and do that. Your passion is everything. Passion is everything in business.
And before you end, I have 10 questions, quick fire questions, whatever comes to your mind.
Wow.
All right. So what's the greatest risk you've ever taken?
Gosh.
Quick fire.
I mean skydiving.
Yes. Yes, you're not skydiving?
Yes.
Where?
I almost died.
Where?
Dubai.
I want to do that. I'll do that too.
Yes.
I think men, you like when you're almost dying, you like those experiences. I want to do that. Describe your style in one word.
Sharp.
What's one of your nicknames?
It's in Sharks. Joba.
Yeah?
Joba.
Joba. Si Jaba. What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent.
You mentioned about cooking.
No, not cooking.
Yeah.
Running, marathon.
You do marathon?
I do.
Yeah, we plan to do. Money or happiness?
Money.
It will buy happiness.
It will buy, yes.
Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
To the past.
Why?
I learn a lot.
Oh, to the past?
Yes, I always travel back.
What scares you?
Reptiles.
What's your favorite number and why?
4.
Why?
I have 4 daughters.
Interesting. And we'll be here forever. Forever. What's been your best age so far?
50.
How long, what's it called? Who inspires you?
My mom.
Would you spend more money on a dream home or travel the world?
Dream home.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, anytime.
Music or quiet?
Quiet.
And the final question, freedom or money?
Freedom.
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Simon, for coming to this show. It's kind of interesting. I think when I was just going through this conversation, I think just listening to you, there's so many ideas that just come to my mind in terms of how I'm going to change aspects of some of the businesses that I run. But thank you so much for having watched this show. Hope you've learned a thing or two from Simon, who's the CEO of Jaicom. I got it right?
Yes.
Yeah, Jaicom primarily is one of the biggest distributors of electronics and distributors of Samsung products. They are based, how many shops, right?
6 in Nairobi, yes.
So Galleria,
Valley Arcade, Imara Mall, Mega Mall.
Actually, I've seen you several times. I've seen the brand Jaicom.
Yes.
I think when you mentioned it now, it's coming to my mind. I've seen you all across.
Yes.
My goodness, you can actually visit some of their stores and just get to purchase from them. And as always, we're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur. As one thing I always say, your network is your net worth. As an entrepreneur, you need always to build on your network, and being a part of the Capital Club enables you to do that. Also, a final reminder, always go get my books at Textbook Center. They're selling it quite fast, so you can actually get the Business Conquest that I talk about, the entrepreneurship experiences based on some of the Kenyan stories, and Food for Thought that I share around 400 quotes and philosophies that you can actually get to learn from. As always, my name is Ian Dennis, and this has been the Late Night Business. Until next time, I'll see you right here on KTN Home.